with St. Kitts Nevis. This is a fraud scheme that has been played out on us for the last 40 years plus. How many criminals do you think have gotten into our country because of this? How many do you think are still getting in? Do you believe that some, maybe even a lot, of the serious crime that we have been having is strictly homegrown, or has to some extent been influenced by people from over there and other places? Are we so gullible as to believe that this promiscuous, loose and corrupt approach that we have had to immigration, including citizens of larger CARICOM states, has not contributed to this criminal mentality that we have seen grow in our little country? In case you might be thinking that I have something against people from any of these countries, I don't. I am good with them generally, certainly with the decent ones, and there are a lot in number, those who are solid members of our community. But there are a lot of gangsters and frauds in our midst, and they need to be sent back home. The information that I'm sharing with you, just to show you that this is not originating with me or any xenophobia I might have, which I don't. The information that I'm getting on Dominicanos is coming from Dominicanos. That I'm getting from Jamaicans is coming from Jamaicans, and so on. These are good, decent people who have come here legitimately and have become and want to continue being solid partners in our national development and solid members of our community. And all of these problems can be sorted out, and could have been long sorted out in relation to the DOM rep and other countries. All our governments had to do, and all the present government has to do, is before you allow them in, contact their governments for due diligence reports, even if they have to be paid for, which charge we pass on to the applicant. You've heard me say before that people from certain CARICOM countries need to be put on a visa basis because we can't take care of our problems while their problems are amassing on ours. And the freedom with which these people can come in here and the looseness of the arrangement opens the door not only for management problems for us generally, but for serious and very threatening criminal elements to enter into our equation. And it's not only Dominicanos and Haitians and Jamaicans, We've been seeing inflows from Cuba and Venezuela. We are small, we are vulnerable, we have limited resources. We have to protect the economy. We have to protect jobs. We have to make sure that our people get first shot. Look at all of these bars and other establishments being set up by people coming in. Look around St. Kitts. How many local mom and pop shops are you seeing? No. They've gone. The Chinese have taken over. Look at the jobs in and around Bastia and the businesses. Look at the amount of people from India. Nothing against these folks. And we want our country to include and embrace people from all over the world so we can enjoy the different cultures and live together. But the process has to be managed, and it is not being properly managed. Someone in the field of finance told me, in addition to our people losing business opportunities and losing jobs, between 12 and 20 million dollars per year go out just to non-OECS CARICOM countries and other countries in the region. So that is money that is lost to the economy, that is generated from jobs that are lost to locals. Now, it is true that a number of our people don't take certain jobs. And you see these people coming in here like cleaning homes. And cleaning a big home, they'll charge you $300. I'm not saying they're overcharging. But why can't our people look at these jobs and take them up as businesses? So we have to take some blame for it too. In the meantime, jobs are being lost, Business opportunities are being lost to some degree because of a loose immigration setup. And we can't afford for our people to be losing jobs and our economy to be losing $20 million a year that it could very well keep here and make things better for our people. Let me touch the Haiti matter again, because it has implications that maybe some of us will not be thinking about. Haiti has diplomatic relations with Taiwan. China is sitting in the wings, hoping for things to get worse and worse in Haiti. And of course, if they get worse and worse in Haiti, and Haiti is depopulating itself, which is the last thing Haiti needs, but people are fleeing. If the problems in Haiti continue and get worse, China is in the wings waiting to displace Taiwan. They are already making overtures and making moves to entice Haiti to shift from Taiwan to come to China. Of course, the United States is aware of what is happening. But if the United States and countries like France and other countries which have a lot of responsibility to take for the terrible situation in which Haiti finds itself, then they will start pumping capital into Haiti to replenish Haiti with all of those billions and billions of dollars that they stole from Haiti. Now, we don't want any superpower in the region dominating and dictating and colonizing. We know Taiwan looks for friends, but we also know China looks for colonies. See what they've done in Africa. See what they're doing in Afghanistan now. The poverty and instability in Haiti needs to be resolved, and it needs to be resolved fast. So let the capital and the investments come from outside of the region, and let the thinking processes come not just from outside but inside the region. CARICOM. This is the best way we can help and show our compassion and our brotherhood and sisterhood with Haiti. We can't put in capital, we don't have it, and we certainly cannot absorb population overruns from Haiti and the Dominican Republic and Jamaica and these places. If we are to help people, we have to be in a position of stability. And these things are destabilizing us. You might not see it, you might not feel it, or you might not know that you are feeling it, but you are. And the intention here is not to make things hard for good people from those countries who may want to join us in our national development. It is instead to make it virtually impossible for bad people to come. And critically, we have to be able to manage and sustain our physical and social infrastructure and make sure that our people's best interests are not compromised. We have the OECS, which is one space. That is enough. In fact, now is the time for us to recalibrate CARICOM. This ease of movement, you come into a country and you can show them you have 6 months amount of capital to support yourself. When most of them don't, I would say probably none of them do. They get supported from people here or purported to be supported. Next thing you know, and I'm repeating myself from last week, 2-3 days later they're working probably in a place owned by one of their own, probably illegally. All I hear, they're going into Social Security and getting Social Security cards in abundance. Something is not happening that should be, and some things are happening that should not be. Let me talk about fake documents before I end. It's not only from Dominican Republic that we're seeing these. We see them from India. People coming here on fake documents, applications to be administrative assistants, and the store clerks and the sweep floors. There's one particular company that's been here for decades. Most of the supervisory staff are from India. Well, what happened to our people? Are we only good to do the menial jobs and to spend our money there? Aren't we trustable? Aren't we trustworthy? Aren't we educated? Aren't we capable? But perhaps the worst offender is China. Because all of these Chinese projects hire their own people, they bring them in. I don't know why the governments give them work permits. This government has to put its foot down on behalf of the people of this country. Has to put its foot down. And I say that the politicians and officials who over the years have allowed this cancer to erupt on this little country, be damned to them. We need to take immediate action. And my final point today, because this is a problem as well, which needs immediate and deliberate action. Economic citizens, especially since the prices went down illegally. A bunch of people were able to get citizenship to come in here and are doing business. Look around the island, you see. Knocking out the underbelly of our middle and lower level businesses. And it's not too long, if we don't do something about it, before they knock the legs under the bigger businesses in the country. Today, they can come here, go into business, get jobs, and outcompete our people. We can't allow that to happen. Of course, we need to ramp up our education, our attitude, and so forth, to protect our economy and protect our livelihoods and our living. But the government has to take steps. And it has to take steps in collaboration with the other OECS governments, because we're all a single space. And all are liable to be affected in the same way. The OECS countries have to pass laws to restrict, as best we can, voting, landholding, and other rights and privileges of economic citizens. And these restrictions must run through future generations. It must be a circumscribed citizenship. It has to be in the public interest, in the interest of cultural, economic, social, and political balance and stability. While the question of the ability to vote is presently perhaps not so easy to answer, people might trend on the side of them voting. They must not be able to get voting rights. They must also not be put in a position where they're so empowered that even without voting rights, they run the politics of the country with money and influence the politicians. This is a serious matter, and it needs to be addressed now. Immigration and citizenship across the board, including people from our region and including people from across the globe in terms of economic citizenship. What is this all about? It's about ensuring that we have a stable country for generations to come. We have to make tough decisions. We might upset some people in the process, but it's better to upset some people if you're going to save your people. Think about it and talk about it. Thank you.
Well, that's Dwight Astafan. It's 11:23, and that was his commentary from last week. A lot to digest, a lot to dissect, a lot to talk about. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back. And of course, the phone lines are open: 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. And of course, the people in the diaspora can also call as well. I know they're familiar with those numbers. I don't have those to hand. Well, I'll go to the website and I'll drop those when we come back. But let's get a word from our sponsors, and we'll come back and take your calls on what you just heard and any other topic that might be on your mind.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Enjoy the convenience of getting all your documents in one place. At the TDC Copy and Print Center on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, we do just that. We offer document formatting, graphic design, and copy and print services. Our team of professionals truly understand all your needs, whether it be administrative, professional, academic, or personal. You bring it, we deliver it with quality every time. Visit the TDC Copy and Print Center today in the TDC Mall on 4th Street in Basse-Terre or call 465-2511. Your copy and print specialists are waiting to serve you.
What has you so happy?
My home internet just got upgraded, and I didn't even have to pay for it.
What? Which network you have?
Flow! Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 100 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
And we are back on Voices. And you just heard, before the break, you heard Dwight Astafan's brand new commentary from last week. And I played that with the hope that that would generate some discussion, comments, questions, insights. So give me a call, 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. And there's some other interesting topics in the news, but let's go to the phone lines. We have our first caller. Caller, go right ahead.
Hi. Good morning, Jamster.
Hey, go right ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go right ahead. I'm hearing you.
Hello, Jamster.
Hello, I am hearing you loud and clear.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. I listened to the clip you played there with Mr. Dwight Astafan, and there's so much to glean from what has been heard, so much. But I would say that can we benefit from what has been said, in the sense that like the gates are open where CARICOM, we have seen cases like the Shanik Mairi. Can we curtail the movements of people? To what extent? There are some concerted efforts that can be done in tightening up certain areas, like he spoke about the way the Social Security cards might be issued. We encourage businesses set up because we are a growing economy, and we will encourage that. But to scrutinize the way certain things are being done in terms of the public sector apparatus system, like Social Security and other areas, that can be tightened. Also, immigration. But it is a tough one. Are our people sensitive enough to know that, more so than ever, this is time to support your own? He spoke of the moms and pop shops, which small businesses are the backbone of any economy, because there are so many small businesses. There are big businesses also, but big businesses will benefit from small businesses, because some of the setups of the small businesses, it redounds to the big businesses at the final analysis. For instance, I patronize a business in town, Lucky, but I only go there to buy one item in which I don't find to get in other businesses. I like a certain brand soap. And I only go there for lucky. They might encourage me or entice me to buy other things, but I don't. I'm from the Newtown community, and Judith, a local business lady, used to be in the George Street. And for whatever reason, she was forced to foreclose down there. She has downsized her business. She's on Ponce Fascia. And that is where I go to buy certain commodities, certain miscellaneous. And that's the way I shop. I go to Rams and I shop for dry fruits and the like. And so, to sensitize our people, because it happens in a Jamster. It happens amongst all other people, but it does not happen amongst us. Somehow the crab in a barrel syndrome, a part of our trauma, we are still floating in it. We are still sinking in it like quicksand. That's a minute part of the trauma that we are still experiencing. And so, what has been done to us, what's supposed to be a lasting effect, we have the propensity to get out of it, but collectively, if it's not done on a collective basis, we're not going anywhere soon. And so one could say, like back, let's rewind when the West Indian Federation started up and how they break up. But one from 10 leave north and so forth. And the little sucklings are sucking on the big pig. The bauxite and the bauxite countries and the big tree. You see the dominance in cricket, in the sporting arena, the just concluded track and field. It emanates, it redounds, it comes down. So here is it now. The little economies has the potential, and at the moment, because no one economy will last forever. You will see economy rise and economy fall, just like empires rise and fall. And so for now, Pinkerton Nevis and the smaller territories, the OECS, might have the helm, but we see the potential for like Guyana with their oil discovery and so. So who knows? Would we want the same treatment for us, the way we treat or the way we mistreat our national brothers and sisters and brothers around the region if, let's say, Jamster, a more business opportunity for you in broadcasting and radio and so forth might become of age in Guyana, and you had to relocate because it's one space, OECS, and another space, CARICOM. And let's say you replace, or you go to Guyana to live for a period of time. Would you want the same treatment as you would have given to your sisters and brothers from Guyana now, in an amicable way? Or would you want to treat them hostile? As you heard your co-host and the morning tea spoke about the first time when she just came here, tender age, of Kittiton parents and the way the, what we call the xenophobia she have had to experience. So it is funny, but the sensitization of our people collectively, if we don't do that, we ain't going nowhere. We're not going to go nowhere to say, well, this is your business interest. This is where I should spend my money in order that my money don't take flight. Some money is going to take flight because our food import bill is probably $80 million. And we have land that we can curtail that $80 million, slash it in half. But we're not doing anything. We're not producing anything. Better yet, our sisters going into those businesses and buying those fake braids to look good. So the low self-esteem has to be raised. And all of this, and not only the sisters who are going to buy fake hair, it's these brothers who are buying this nasty brown who they put it in the marijuana and messing them up. And so you see more and more of our youth on the street, messed up minds. So say one, say two, the sisters with the fake hair, but the brothers are losing their minds. This thing is real, and no one, those who in the know, like Mr. Dwyer Estefan, yes, kudos to you. But it is deeper. We're not just dealing with it on the surface anymore. With just the commentary. Let us deal with the more deeper implication as to how we're going to fix this thing. I say no more for now. I stop for now. I'll give someone else a chance.
Okay. All right,
Thanks for
caller.
listening.
Okay, great. Okay, so that was our first caller, and I await your calls. I'm going to take a break in the meantime, and we hear from our sponsors. It's 11:34.
Found the sound 98.9. Win FM.
You hear that? That's unlimited WhatsApp and Facebook messaging with Flow's unlimited super combo prepaid plan.
Music to my ears. I can do everything in it.
Yeah, all you want. Have endless fun when you activate a 7-day plan for just $25. Enjoy 10 gigs of endless data for all your pics, GIFs, stickers, voice notes, voice calls, docs, and even video calls. Do all you want with unlimited WhatsApp and Facebook messaging on Flow's unlimited super combo prepaid plans. Switch to Flow today. Conditions apply.
When the star them there, we a top man, we take charge. Have no we drink and we a shell down hard. Blast like a star with some gallopar. Overdo it, we take it too far. Take charge, take charge.
We a hot gal, we set the trend. Magnum we drink for the top man them. Wine with the style, no stop from spin. Hot blend, back bend, and take charge, take charge.
Magnum tonic wine, the real star them. Take charge, take charge. Must be 18 or older, drink responsibly.
Insurance Company Limited, where you get more coverage for less.
It's 11:36, and we're back on Voices. And at the top, we heard Dwyer Stefan's brand new commentary, and we had our first caller. Now, I'm gonna have to let callers know that I'm going to be trying to restrict the calls to 30 seconds because I think one of the things that hampers, let's say, the call load is the fact that some people tend to go on and on and on and on rather than, trying to condense their point, do it in a brief time, say 30 seconds. So, and then a lot of times I think people don't call because they hear a caller going on and they're like, and they might call and then the call times out and they get frustrated. But so what I'm going to try to do is let's aim for 30 seconds, all right, and keep the calls brief. So even if there's no one in the line, I want to kind of establish a system where people know that callers are going to be brief and to the point rather than repeating themselves over and over. Some people tend to want to repeat the same point 6 times, that kind of thing. So let's try and get your call, make your point once, make it short, pithy, to the point, so we can keep it moving. The numbers are 466-0989, 662-0989, and 762-0989, and the overseas numbers are 718-285-6984, 305-921, 4619, and the UK number, of course, that's an overseas number as well, 033-344-0065. So you can give me a call. In the meantime, I'll just take a look at some interesting stories over here on the WinFM website. It's WINNmediaSKN.com. You guys really should check it out. A lot of really great stories. And WinFM has always been a mecca for solid news coverage, and the website is no different. So, first story is from the Jamaica Observer. Jamaica is getting ready for a referendum, and I thought the starting paragraph was interesting. The ghost of the 1961 referendum on Jamaica's continued membership in the Federation of the West Indies, which went against the then governing People's National Party, and shortly after saw the Jamaica Labour Party gaining state power to lead the island into independence. And that has continued to haunt successive administrations over the years, leaving them wary to return, wary as in W-A-R-Y, not wary as in tired, wary to return to the people for any such poll. But Jamaicans could get a chance to vote in another referendum in the not too distant future to determine if the country cuts ties with the British monarchy to become a republic. And Dr. Nadine Spence, a member of the Constitutional Reform Committee guiding the process, does not believe that Jamaicans have so far grasped the significance of this vote. Spence, who is the civil society representative on the 15-member committee, is tasked with providing expert guidance and oversight for the country's constitutional reform, told this week's Jamaica Observer Monday Exchange that it appears not many people have recognized the power this democratic tool affords them. The referendum is an ultimate participation in a democracy where every citizen, as long as they are registered, can go and vote on an issue. So the government is trying to get citizens to register so that they can take part in the referendum. So that's that story from Jamaica, and of course the referendum is in reference to whether Jamaica will remain a colony. Hey, let's face it, right? We're still colonies. If we're really independent, why would we have someone who has nothing to do with us except that they're the people who oversaw our kidnapping and our forefathers being worked for no pay? And that's the nicest thing we can say about the things that went on. But the point is, Jamaica is having a referendum to determine whether they will continue to be a colony, because that's what basically this is. We're still a colony as far as I'm concerned, because we still have the Queen as the head of state. Why is the Queen on our money, for example? Why is the prison called Her Majesty's Prison? I find that very strange. And, all these other things is Her Majesty's this, or I guess in this case now it'd be His Majesty's this and His Majesty's that. Aren't we independent? Just asking a question. Let's go to the phone line. Voices, you're on the air.
Yeah, good morning.
Hey.
I'm thinking about the flight that they have out of Santo Domingo. That could be one of the, what you call, the entrance to the country. If you don't have a flight direct from Santo Domingo to St. Kitts, it makes it more difficult if the flight has to take another route to get here. If you open up a route, expect the flow of people. These people have no business in St. Kitts. They have no setup to say, well, you have a what you call a trade. If you create a trade between two countries, then you can do a flight, because it's an import, export. If we have certain things to export to Santo Domingo that we make here, it makes sense having a flight, but you're only importing people. And the people who come from Santo Domingo, those are less fortunate. The guy who have a decent job in Santo Domingo, he's not going to come to St. Kitts to stay. And very likely they will use St. Kitts for vacation. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
So to me, they first have to stop that flight, cut back on the amount of people flying in every week. And if they're going to do something, set up a trade where you start to make product from St. Kitts to ship, say agriculture, whatever, then you can have a flight, because as you bring in people, the flight will leave in with goods, that you have an income from that flight and not just expenditure. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that was my take, briefly.
Okay,
Stop
great.
your flight, check on it, and see what will be possible down the future.
Okay.
All right, that's my thought.
And, as a sort of, not response, but that's maybe a corollary to that call, when the Antiguans recently had the flight, they started the direct flights from West Africa to Antigua, and then we ended up with some of our African brethren, some of them being drowned at sea. I mean, what did they expect? What were the Antiguans expecting? And because they had to subsequently suspend those flights. Okay, let's go back to the phone line. Voices, you're on the air.
Greetings,
Well, hey, what's up?
I'm good. You know, most of our problem, if not all, them some wrong faces, right places. Because the system, you know, is not in a vacuum. It is people, people's decisions, people's mindset that creates systems. And unfortunately, we have a lot of wrong faces in the right places. And it is causing a whole heap of things to go wrong. Whole heap of things.
Let me ask a question. Would that be the same as saying, you know, the popular saying, which I've heard, I must say I've heard a lot within the last 6 months, square pegs in round holes? Is that basically what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
It is like that.
Okay.
The right faces must be in the right places so that things can go as it ought to go. Let me remind you of the punchline we wrote years ago in Jamaica. We did it on campus too, at Mona, because we used to hang out there with everyone. The right faces in the right places beget successes after successes. And it's true. When it is differently, it's their problems. And that is what has been happening with us ever since them say our physical enslavement done. The mental captivities inside of there, we seen there, right down to our times according to the Western Gregorian calendar, April 2023. There are wrong faces down to this morning, having a while ago I must say having a conversation with Nature Man, Claudia. And talking about the environment thing, and the same conversation. People who are supposed to be in places what's supposed to be in places is not there. And this is like from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top. Are people who would have the job to clean streets, are people who are in decision-making position. Wrong faces. Hey, and until we acknowledge this, very seriously acknowledge this, and turn this thing around. We're going to always be having these kind of isms around us. Wrong places in the right places. The system is not in a vacuum. Blessed love, my brother. Blessed love.
Blessed love. Okay, that was Elder X weighing in. So we await your phone calls. Another regional story that people might find interesting, also on the WinFM website, is the fact that Calypsonian soca artist David Rudder confirmed on Friday that he's been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease as he gets ready to mark his 70th birthday. Yeah. He's got a big show coming up on May 6th, which is going to be called Come and Celebrate. A line from one of his tunes, and you guys know that he is the one that penned and sang the West Indies cricket team anthem, Rally Round the West Indies. So he was saying, first thing I did was to do some tests and check myself, and I have been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. So with that, I said, you know what, this concert may not be my last. I will keep playing, but no more than 4 hours, no more marathon 4-hour long shows. But it brought me into a kind of space where I had to focus on me for the first time, and he added that I am ready to deal with this new reality. He said he also intends to publish new material, including a tune on the British Windrush generation. So I wanted to mention that because I think sometimes, some of these setbacks, some of these illnesses don't become relatable to many of us until until maybe someone we know, someone we like, someone we admire, um, becomes stricken with that illness, that situation. So yes, David Rudder, just diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. He said he's going to continue performing. So I guess his shows will go from 4 hours to less than 4 hours. And we all know he puts on a pretty good show. I didn't realize his concerts were that long. 4 hours, that's wow. But people who love Rudder, I mean, you're at a David Rudder concert and he's doing 4 hours. You're really you are really getting your money's worth. So keep the calls coming. I'm going to take a break at this point. It's 10. We have 10 minutes until 12 o'clock. Of course, we have the midday news coming up at 12. So let's get a quick break from our sponsors.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
The TDC Home and Building Depots have gone green for the month of April. We're giving our customers 20% in savings on all eco-friendly products. Shop during Earth Week, April 17th to 22nd with your green bag and claim your green bonus with an extra 5% off the items that fit inside. Then on Earth Day, April the 22nd, it's no plastic bag day. Bring along your own green bag, shop as you please, and enjoy the savings. Live the green life with the TDC Home and Building Depots, everyone's favorite retail stores. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
What has you so happy?
My home internet just got upgraded, and I didn't even have to pay for it.
What? Which network you have?
Flow. Now I can get the fastest fiber internet in St. Kitts and Nevis for the lowest price.
Fastest internet for the lowest price? What's the catch?
No catch, my friend. 100 megabits per second for just $135 a month. With Flow, you truly get the best internet experience around.
Switch to Flow for the fastest fiber internet at the lowest price. Visit a Flow store today. Conditions apply.
And we're back on Voices. It's 8 minutes, 11:50 to 8 minutes until 12 o'clock. And of course, at 12, we have the midday news, and then Voices continues thereafter. So we're back. Keep the calls coming. 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. And we've got our overseas numbers, 718-285-6984. 305-921-4619 and 033-344-0065. That last number being the UK number. So, yes, we have heard from Dwight Astafan, his weekly commentary from last week, and I've apprised you of two regional stories. David Rudder being diagnosed with Parkinson's, and Jamaica getting ready for a referendum to decide whether they attain true independence or not, which would be going for Republican status versus what pertains at the moment, where the king is the head of state. So you can keep your calls coming. Things seem a little quiet today. I don't know what's going on. Now on the St. Kitts Nevis front, on the WINNFM website, we have. Let me see. Take a quick look at some of the stories. You have the St. Kitts Nevis Health Ministry. They're targeting those not immunized in 2022 during a 2023 vaccination week. So they're trying to get as many people vaccinated as possible. And it's I must say it's kind of refreshing to hear the Prime Minister. I mean, I was listening to the news this morning, and he was talking about the vaccination thing, medical matters, and you can tell that that's his wheelhouse, and he's the Minister of Health, and you can tell that he's passionate about health. So we keep seeing all these stories about professing gloom and doom as far as the health system is concerned, but we have a Prime Minister who happens to be a physician and is also the Minister of Health. And I was listening this morning and I couldn't help thinking, yes, I can see that he is passionate about health and medicine and how that machinery works in St. Kitts Nevis. So let's see what happens, because the passion is certainly there. I mean, he's a doctor. You would expect him to be. You would expect him to be passionate about that. So and of course, the St. Kitts Music Festival also announced last week that they will be making the St. Kitts Music Festival 420 friendly. 420 is a sort of designated date for marijuana, let's say a marijuana affirmation and all the attendant issues, be it medical marijuana, responsible marijuana, having a responsible marijuana industry, and so on. So that raises the question of will there be additional legislation? Because if you notice the legislation only speaks to the religious and medicinal use of marijuana. So it would mean that most likely the government will be legislating to include recreational use, and also that would also mean recreational public use. But it also raises another question. They're accommodating persons who might want to use marijuana publicly at an event like St. Kitts Music Festival. So it raises the question of, some folks might say, well, is there going to be a double standard? Is it only going to be for the St. Kitts Music Festival? Because then, detractors might say, well, so only foreigners will be able to come here. Well, meaning obviously if it's allowed for the St. Kitts Music Festival, it would mean that locals can partake as well. But I imagine people will say, well, you're only doing this for the benefit of foreigners. So what happens to Cooler Fete? What happens to Carnival? What happens to Culturama? What happens to all these other annual fetes that we have here in St. Kitts Nevis throughout the year? Will we be allowed to use marijuana at those as well? So we await what the authorities will do to make not only the St. Kitts Music Festival, but all these other events that we have on an annual basis, on a monthly basis, whether they'll also be allowed to partake. And I imagine they will, because obviously that would be a double standard, and that would probably leave a bad taste in Kittitians and Division's mouths. So let's go back to the phone lines. Voices, you're on the air.
Greetings proudly.
Hey.
How long has the St. Kitts Nevis Music Festival going on?
Well, this is the 25th anniversary this year. Sure. I think it started in 1996. I wasn't here at the time, but yeah.
1996?
Yes, I think, yeah.
Ganja wasn't smoking in St. Kitts 1996.
Was it 1996 or 1990? Yeah? I'm not sure. I think it's 1996. But someone
okay,
could call
somewhere
me.
around there, 25.
Yes.
We are with me taking so good neither, but that don't bother with that. Me used to walk it out in my head. We couldn't deal with the pen and paper thing. But anyhow, then time the wind start. Ganja now using Sinkit and Nevis. Ganja was using.
Well, it was.
My point, from the inception, from music festival start, ganja use. No, the people them who walk around smoke ganja, and as it exclaim, blowing people. Me don't see people smoke cigarette and blow it in people's face. So the people them who walk around and smoke ganja and blow in people's face, they have to stop it. That is irresponsible and selfish. And if you are in a location, sometimes you're in a session because you go to festivals and you can't move from there, right? And if you look on your surroundings and you see, say, well, okay, my surroundings full of people who will use ganja like me, you can do a thing. But if you're in a surroundings with people who no use ganja, you see them not use it, then you excuse yourself and do otherwise. Because you have people who does that. They're making these blanket statements like everybody who smoke ganja do these things. I do only put blanket statement and speculate. Okay. Me, all people that say them not come to the music festival because blah, blah, boom, boom. Foolishness.
Okay, Elder, okay. You're going to have to continue this after the news.
Yeah,
it's 12 o'clock.
Right.
Yes, great. Okay, great. Okay, we have the headline news coming up right now. It's midday.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Bastere in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
With the Win Midday News, I am Devon Cornelius. In our headlines locally, police launch community advancement program. Across the region, general elections are underway Monday in the British Virgin Islands. Internationally, U.S. President Joe Biden to announce bid for re-election. The details of these and other stories straight ahead. A new community initiative has been launched on Nevis called the Community Advancement Program. The program has been launched in collaboration with the Department of Community Development in the Nevis Island Administration and the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. According to a statement from the police, the Community Advancement Program is a social cohesion and advancement program designed to provide a safe space for youth through productive interactions and teamwork. By way of facilitators provided by the Department of Community Development, the police force, and the community at large, the Community Advancement Program will offer a range of interactive training opportunities and developmental sessions. The Community Advancement Program will be an ongoing strategic community-based program that endeavors to improve the relationship and trust between youth and law enforcement agencies. The program will also work to instill a sense of responsibility and patriotic pride in the youth through community service and volunteerism. The ceremony for the launch of the program took place on April 21st, 2023 at the Nevis Performing Arts Center, NEPAC. It was attended by a number of government officials and 4 members of the police force, namely Deputy Commissioner of Police Cromwell Henry, Superintendent Lyndon David, Inspector Alonzo Carty, and Corporal Shauna Pemberton. The Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College CFBC Jenkins Limited Leadership Course, in partnership with the University of the West Indies Open Campus, St. Kitts and Nevis, will host a public lecture on Thursday, April 27th, 2023. Presenter Dr. Samuel Scott of Jamaica and an alumnus of the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, will speak on the topic Small Open Economies in Challenging Geo-Economic and Geopolitical Environments, a case for St. Kitts and Nevis and its CARIFORUM partners in pursuing growth and development. The venue for the lecture is the CFBC Nathaniel John Hospitality Center, located at the Burden Street campus, and the event will begin at 7 p.m. An invitation is extended to the public.
This is the Carib Update News Service. I am Wendy Chateau reporting. General elections are underway Monday in the British Virgin Islands. This is the big story we're tracking this hour on Monday, April 24, 2023. Details to this story and more straight ahead. Now for the details. The polls are opened this hour and voting has begun in the British Virgin Islands. The vote coming almost a year after the former Premier Andrew Foy was arrested in Miami. It will be a test for his Virgin Islands party, the incumbent, now headed by Premier Natalio Whitley. The VIP is the only party fielding a full slate of 13 candidates, enhancing its re-election chances amidst otherwise strong political wins. The National Democratic Party, which it dethroned 4 years ago, is regarded to be its biggest challenger. The VIP ended its campaign Sunday with a national motorcade, the size of which stunned observers, coming at the end of what many regard as an otherwise less than stellar campaign. Based on some projections, it is possible that no party will win outright, leaving a path for likely political horse trading. The NDP and the smaller Progressive Virgin Islands movement are most likely to be coalition partners. Premier Whitley, during the party's grand finale rally on the weekend, said the governor's office sent him a letter reminding him that based on the rules, he can select a new leader if no party gets a majority, and if successful MPs could not agree among themselves who should be the next premier. 1,436 people, mainly elderly, have already voted following last week's pre-election day schedule. Outgoing Jamaica Member of Parliament for South East St. Anne, Lisa Hanna, has criticized the approach of the People's National Party in selecting her replacement. Hanna indicated that she would not be contesting the upcoming general elections, sparking a three-person race to replace her. The PNP conducted a constituency poll in March to determine support among constituents for the three candidates. The results showed former West Indies cricketer Wavell Hines emerging as the favourite with 49% of the votes, while Dr. Kenneth Russell copped 9% and Patricia Duncan Sutherland 8.5%. 33% of voters offered no opinion. But supporters of the party have staged a demonstration in the constituency, calling for the delegates to decide who will contest the seat for the PNP. Hanna said those who feel this system of the delegates choosing the representative is archaic should move to amend the party's constitution and do away with the delegates system. Without that, she says, the party has to follow the rules. The Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister has issued a stinging condemnation of the Tobago House of Assembly's Chief Secretary, Farley Augustine, and his executive, saying they did not have the mandate of the people of Tobago. Dr. Rowley said if Farley and his Tobago People's Party, TPP members, wanted to be taken seriously by the central government and Tobagonians, he should make arrangements for an early election. This is Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service. In more news, ongoing industrial action by UWI lecturers at the St. Augustine campus in Trinidad has led to the rescheduling of final examinations for some courses. A statement from UWI Principal Rosemary Bell Antwine said, "Some exams which were scheduled for April 24 to May 5 are now being held on May 15 to 19. This comes as the West Indies Group of University Teachers, WIGUT, has called for a boycott in the submission of exam question papers for this semester." India's foreign minister, who is on a 3-day official visit to Guyana, told the Indian diaspora in the capital city of Georgetown on Sunday that the two countries are forging a partnership fit for the contemporary era. The Indian foreign minister is on a 9-day visit to Latin America and the Caribbean, during which he will travel to Panama, Colombia, and the Dominican Republic. On Saturday, Guyana and India signed an air services agreement to facilitate air travel between both countries. The agreement will allow direct Guyanese-owned airlines direct market access to international airports in India and vice versa. The agreement will allow Trans-Guyana Airways to fly directly to airports in Indian cities of Mumbai, New Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai, Bengaluru, and Hyderabad. Currently, there is no direct flight between Guyana and India. This has been another edition of Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service, the Caribbean's newsroom. Reporting this hour, I am Wendy Chateau.
President Biden is expected to formally announce his bid for re-election on Tuesday. If he does announce it, he would be the oldest president to do so. Mr. Biden is currently 80 years old and would be 86 at the end of a potential second term. So far, he doesn't face any major challenges for the Democratic nomination, but there are several Republican candidates officially vying to take on Mr. Biden, including Ambassador Nikki Haley and, of course, former President Donald Trump. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is also expected to run. Well, Ed O'Keefe is the senior White House correspondent for CBS.
We're anticipating that it's going to happen on Tuesday with some kind of a video announcement, very common for politicians to do it that way these days. And it'll be some kind of summation about what he would like to still yet do should he win 4 more years. What I'm keen to know is whether he's going to mention perhaps the biggest barrier for him right now with voters that continues to show up in polling, and that is his age. How does he explain that? How does he justify being an 80-year-old man running for president, already the oldest U.S. president? Can he assuage the concerns, especially within his own party, which is a far younger party than Republicans, that he's up to the job, that he can literally survive it until the end of his second term? And what then does he say about what has been not yet accomplished by his team that he would like to get done? But otherwise, watch him tout the accomplishments of the last few years, restoring America's position in the world, fighting to sustain democracy in this country and around the world as well, and probably reminding voters that if it's not him, it's going to be a Republican, either Donald Trump or somebody like him, who would strip away a lot of the progress that he would argue has been made in the last several years.
Now, thousands of migrants in southern Mexico have started a march to the capital. They're calling for an end to the use of detention centres and want the United States to speed up their asylum applications. Well, earlier I spoke to our Latin America regional editor Mimi Swaby and started by asking why the migrants had taken such drastic action.
So they're calling for 2 things. Firstly, the end to these detention centres, largely coming off the back of the really tragic incident about a month ago in northern Mexico in Ciudad Juarez, when 40 migrants died in one such centre after a fire broke out. They actually attributed a prayer and a moment of silence before starting their journey today as a collective group. And like you said, the second thing is that they want their applications to be sped up. Lots of these migrants have spent months now in this centre waiting, unsure what's going to happen next, unsure where they can move to next. They've come over the border from Guatemala, a lot of them, this is very close to that border, and now they seem to be stuck in this kind of limbo, unable to move forward, but then they can't really, or don't want to, go back either.
What are the conditions on the route like?
It's a really treacherous route. It's over 1,000 kilometres long and can take up to 10 days. There are lots of families on this route. We've seen some videos of long lines streaming, it seems, up this coastal highway, people carrying possessions, their rucksacks, a bottle of water. It's also quite dangerous. One of the reasons people travel en masse is largely for safety. They think if they band together, they have a better chance of firstly arriving in Mexico City and also then defending themselves either against the state or discrimination they may face on their route.
And how long is it going to take them to reach Mexico City, and what are they likely to do when they get there?
So it could be up to 10 days depending on how quickly they get there, how quickly they walk, how many breaks they take. It is very hot, and during the day conditions walking can be really tough. And when they get there, the challenges don't end. They will maybe apply for refugee applications, but they probably won't have very high chances of getting these, especially after President Joe Biden of the US has enforced stricter, more severe policies, and now the numbers crossing that border are actually a record low during his presidency. So if they get to Mexico City, they will have to face more challenges. And these policies have really created a bottleneck in northern Mexico on that frontier, creating a really challenging environment for migrants every step of the way. But that seems to be kind of the limit where most can get to.
Mimi Swaby there.
More than 10,000 people have crossed from Sudan into neighboring Chad. The World Food Programme says that number could rise to 100,000. So joining us on the phone from Chad's capital in N'Djamena is freelance journalist Carol Valade. Carol, you have been to the border areas where Sudanese refugees started arriving. Share with us what you saw and what you heard.
Yeah, thank you. I saw people crossing the border every day, more and more people. Yet their numbers, exact number, it's increasing, but we don't know exactly how many there are because the NGOs are still counting. But according to local sources, there could be already more than 20,000 of them, and they are surviving in desperate conditions. It's the Sahel region, so you have to imagine it's a very dry place. It's almost barren. There is no shade, no place to take shelter, and the temperatures there, they rise above 44 degrees. So the refugees, they are lacking everything basic: water, food, shelter, and they are currently sleeping in the open air.
Did they describe specifically what they were fleeing, what the conditions were in the regions that they came from? Are civilians being directly targeted there, or are they just afraid of being caught in crossfire? What did they tell you?
Well, for the first of them who arrived in the past days to Chad, they were fleeing attacks from in their villages, and they were also reporting lootings, and also one village that was burned down. But most of the people were in the Darfur region, the region at the border with Chad. They are still caught in the fightings. So for the moment, they can't move, and that's why humanitarians expect more and more of them to come in the next day as soon as the fighting stops.
Did you see people continue to arrive as you were there? Were they arriving continuously?
Yeah, I saw at the point in the village where I was, there was a constant arrival of refugees.
Are there concerns about destabilizing potentially Chad, where the security situation there is fragile?
Yes, absolutely. And right now in N'Djamena, everyone is talking about that. Everyone is talking about the fear of destabilization coming from Sudan, all the more so that you have the same communities that live across the border. So right now the army is deployed at the border to prevent this. But we already had some Sudanese soldiers who crossed to Chad and have been disarmed by Chadian forces. Here, everyone is remembering the rebellions which came from Sudan in the 90s. But even more people are talking and remembering the war in Darfur, which started 20 years ago, and 300,000 people died. Because the Janjaweed militias that were fighting at this time, they have been for many integrated into the RSF. So Darfur is considered to be a stronghold for the General Emeti, and also as a place where he might come back in case his forces were to be defeated.
All right, Carol Valad, thank you for joining us on the program today. Let's bring in Mohammed Val. He's reported extensively from Sudan. Mohammed, you're joining us on set. Normally, what you do, part of what you do is obviously you work your sources and your contacts on the ground. That's just become a lot harder over the last 24 hours or so.
Exactly, Cyril. Many of the people I tried to call overnight and this morning were not, clearly were not able to receive my calls. And that's the explanation of that is that there is this internet blackout at times, and also, normal communication lines blackout. More serious than that probably is the inability of anyone to go and communicate directly with the neighbors. People are holed up, they are trapped in their homes. When I was able to communicate with some of them, they were telling me that in certain residential districts, they were forced out of their homes by the RSF, yes, the support forces, because the support forces now, their main hideouts are the residential areas. So their only means of survival and to sustain themselves is to go inside homes and loot. This is according to my contacts, and that has added to the difficulty of the situation in residential areas in many areas in Khartoum.
So getting reports now of the RSF actually looting residential areas, which I think is significant.
Cases, I'm talking about some cases, individual cases. People I talked to, they said they forced us out of our homes, and they stayed in the homes. Is it for looting or is it for protection? They wanted to hide in the homes, but apparently the RSF are out of supplies. It's very clear that not many supplies are entering Khartoum, and they have been for 10 days trapped inside residential areas. So the only way for them to find food and drink is to go inside homes or to loot commercial buildings and shops.
And the residents of Khartoum that you were able to speak to, are they trying to leave the capital?
Of course, all of them. They want to find the means. They want to find a way to leave, but they can't. And also the other crisis that has compounded this situation is the lack of fuel across Khartoum. That could be in a way, that could be a very dangerous situation for civilians, because it leads to power cuts, it leads to a lot of services being cut, but also at the same time it might explain this quiet that we see in Khartoum, because even the fighting,
this is something you flagged as something that we should be monitoring.
Yes, the fighting parties, particularly the RSF, the support forces, they don't have fuel supplies for their four-wheel drives anymore most of the time. So I mean that can explain this lack of mobility for attacks inside Khartoum. So that could be a positive situation, but at the same time the other impact of the lack of fuel is on civilians, on services, on bakeries, on banks, on internet, on communication lines, and the ability even to evacuate people.
You were telling me a moment ago that so when the 3-day ceasefire, I hesitate to call it a ceasefire because there were still fighting during that period, but when the 3-day ceasefire ended overnight, the fighting did not resume full force. There is fighting, but it is, we can perhaps describe it as moderate, you were telling me?
Clearly there were hours and hours after midnight. There were hours of quiet. And people were even inquiring, what's the meaning of this? Are they extending this ceasefire unofficially? But there are some explanations to this. I mentioned this lack of fuel to move for the vehicles, for the army, and also particularly for the RSF. But also there is a level of exhaustion, 10 days of fighting. There is a level of exhaustion, and there is a moment of probably thinking about what has been achieved and what can be achieved. It's very clear that the two sides are unable to gain a decisive victory.
Yeah, neither side has won this.
So, I mean, this might be an opportunity. Also, the other factor, Cyril, is the evacuations have not yet been completed. So there is a lot of hesitation on both sides to kill the foreigners who are being evacuated, and they know that those foreigners can be caught in the crossfire if the exchange of fire continues during the evacuation.
Yeah, and they both generals, Mr. Burhan and Mr. Hemeti, they both said publicly that they would let people evacuate who wanted to evacuate and leave Khartoum.
Exactly.
Right. Mohammed Val, Al Jazeera's Mohammed Val, thank you so much.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
And it's 12:31, and we are back for the concluding segment of Voices. And this segment is brought to you by Hosfords. So we'll get a word from Hosfords and we'll come back and take your calls.
King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas, announces king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts. We have the best service and competitive rates on LCL and FCL cargo, including D&E containers, cars, heavy equipment, buses, boats, and barrels from Miami to St. Kitts. LCL pickup service anywhere in the U.S. Call local agents SL Horseman and Company Limited at 869-465-4086 or 869-662-5008 for further details. King Ocean's king-size savings on shipments from Miami to St. Kitts Nevis. King Ocean, king of the Caribbean seas.
And we're back on Voices, and with no further ado, we go straight to the phone lines. We've had 2 calls coming in, so I'm going to ask my callers to be brief, so you've got 30 seconds to start. Let's go. Voices, you're on the air.
Okay, I get the one. Okay, let me move from the radio, you know. We just are listening to the news there, right, in your news time. And watch where them people there got, you know, in the earth. And it is so because of what we said earlier. Decisions made by people. No system is a vacuum. Wrong faces in the right places. And it caused all kind of unpleasant things to happen, my brethren, in the earth. Not just in Kitts Nevis. And when we made the sound, when we spoke about that and talk about from them who sweep street to decision makers, it is not just in the state and in government arena. You see me? You find it in almost all circles around here. Wrong faces in the right places. And it causes things to go away all the time. No, the 90s. Well, 25 years. So we in 2023, so we take off, we put 2 years from that, we say 1998. All right. Unless we had a miss out when we had the pandemic. All right. We leave from Yasso, travel to Jamaica in the 80s. And when we leave from Yasso and travel, ganja using here. So that means ganja using long before music festival started. Inception of the same St. Kitts Nevis Music Festival. Long before. So, the point is that when it started, ganja was done being used in St. Kitts Nevis. Right? All right. Therefore, it means that from its inception, ganja has been used during the festival. See? And it means that the whole heap of blah blah and speculation because of the embracing of the annual ongoing 420 festival, celebrating in celebration of the tree of life, the good herb, which are called by many names, some of them I don't like. So we keep it as ganja. I remember when they used to jog us in the court. I remember hearing Mrs. Lorena Maynard, she was clerk of the court one time. I remember the chief of police complained that you was found on a certain dangerous drug, cannabis type. I said, what? Me, what's the man dangerous? What? Me careful when me eat and drink and me gonna put dangerous drug in my body. But that means God is a dangerous creator. Because we don't mix herb when we use herb, you know. Whether we cook it, we steam it, whatever. The use of herb is many. And when the music festival now incorporating this ongoing to show the goodness of the tree of life and things come from which can come from it in the industrial, medicinal, industrial, the whole works, right across the board. This is something the Creator made for the use of man, woman. Where does the holy speculation come from? It's not nothing bad they do. And if they make the decision to incorporate that ongoing annual observation, they must know that they have to put things in place. Even though we don't have wrong faces in the right places most of the time. We have to just let negative things manifest before we start to speculate and judge. When it manifests now, you see there. Because everything is not known that they have those used there. And some irresponsible ones just use it in irresponsible ways, which they ought not to. And I don't know how people, that's why it is claimed that a lot of mixing does go on, and it is the truth. A lot of people don't use straight herb. I just consume herb in a style in the steam pipe. And if I do that in the midst of people, they don't even smell nothing burning. Pure herb they're smelling. These people mix the good herb with all kind of things. And light up in public and thereby, what? Yes, they must smoke the marijuana. Marijuana is something different to ganja. Yes, they might be using marijuana because marijuana is in that same category, that name there marijuana, in that same category of things that is not good. Mixed down, chemicalized, cross up. Ganja different, the tree of life different. It is pure, pristine, as it is created. About doing ungodly people, man, and they using the Bible all the while, they cry if somebody said they don't believe in the Bible, we kill them. And the same Bible in the very first book, and other books to come, speak about the herb. It was given to us for food, for meat, M-E-A-T. Behold, man, woman, I have given you every green herb of the field bearing seed. To you it shall be for meat. The King James Bible said that. And it goes on further in all a lot of books goes on, speaking about the herb, the earth, the trees. And it's making it look like this, like the tree of life is some kind of, like devil make the tree alive. No devil can create no tree. It is divinely created. Double standard, terrible man. And what we notice too now, talking about the same Bible. The same Bible tell them, they're talking about environment and stink. The same Bible tell them that the cleanliness is next to godliness, and watch how they live, watch how they keep the environment. Comfortable in nastiness every day. To them just and going through, driving through and walking through, and the environment crying out because of the nastiness. And they want come crucify the tree of life. The members of the committee of the St. Nevis Music Festival, the onus is on them. As the festival embraced that 420 celebration, the onus is on them to put things in place. Thereby takes a problem that was there for years. People who let there be smoking lounges. Example, these precedents are being set in other places. Right now, one of Jamaica's biggest festival, Rebel Salute. 2 nights they carry to now. 40,000-50,000 people gather every night and taking music. Alcohol, no flesh.
Is that the Tony Rebel?
Music and herb and good vibes, good food.
Is that the Tony Rebel concert, Eli?
They call them?
Is that the Tony Rebel organized?
It started with Garnet's and all of them in Manchester in a little bar. About 5,000 people. Now they carry to 2 nights. His whole family is working with them. And when I did DIB, I live with them and work with them. Queen Ifika is his wife, and you don't know music. That we into be a musician. And there's a herb club right there in the festival. It started in the latter years, but there's a herb club and information, the highest grade of herb in them, the bush herb and what can be made from it. The hashes, all kind of different products come from the herb. All ethical and organic. Actually, and you wouldn't like to see the ireful response. And you have intelligent people there like Dr. Kadamawi Knife and others who is lecturing. Everything is happening there. President has been set. And if we are keeping a music festival, the ones in the committee ought to be in touch with festival in other places. And what goes on with those festivals. That's part of a committee member flexing, not so? Eh?
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
And take it to the board. And let me see if we can incorporate that or dash for that. You know what I mean? And make it and ice up the thing. Otherwise, they're on it, you know. There's been a cry for local. I know I'm in a local poet for music festival, you know. And we have enough poets around the place, and I think it's needed, you know.
Okay.
We don't need to up on the thing, you know. We don't need to up on the thing.
Well, I'm
all
sure.
The people want calling. Blessed love.
Yes. Okay. Great. I'm sure there'll be. I'm sure. I mean, it would have to be that they would intend to reach out to maybe other festivals who have been doing the marijuana friendly accommodation to see how it's done. And that was a good insight there from Eli about the way Tony Rebel does it as his Rebel Salute. It might be nice to hear more about how they do it in Jamaica, because it would also be interesting. It would also be interesting if we could actually have some, medicinal products on sale as well. That could be interesting. Voices, you're on the air.
Yes.
Hey. Hello, Voices.
Yeah, you can hear me, man?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Okay, yeah, the rest man was on just now talking about the festival, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he made some great points, man. So, following up on that call, I've seen some discussion on Facebook where somebody put it out there that, why they announced that the festival coming up going to be 420 friendly, right? But they still have a law in place where smoking in public is against the law, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are they going to work this thing out, man? I mean,
Well, clearly,
the
logic says that there'll probably be some kind of additional legislation between now and June, between now and the music festival. That's the only thing that makes sense. That will
yeah,
also.
I mean, what are they going to do? Wait until the last minute?
No,
I mean, the Attorney General
I
himself,
never said that. I said between now and music festival. That could be next month, so that's not last minute.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah, that's not.
But I hope they don't wait till the last minute because it's going to create a scene. You know what I'm saying? I mean, with that said, I'm asking, like, where is the Attorney General? Why is he in hiding? I mean, why is he not coming public? Making himself available to the public,
But
why is he not talking about
yes,
this stuff?
but
Because he's the one that
honestly,
has to try to help to put this in perspective.
Honestly, right? I find that, to be honest, I find that people are generally I find people are very unreasonable when it comes to having. No, I know trust me, they mess up. They mess up in all sorts of ways. But I do find, and you're in a good example now, I find people are very unreasonable because they just announced this when they announced the roster. The fact that the Attorney General hasn't come forward and said anything yet doesn't mean that he's not working on it. Maybe indeed he's working on that and other things. They have things to do. They can't just show up just because. Yeah, just because we talked about the 420 thing, and then you guys expect him to just come out on cue, just because y'all want to hear from him now. I mean, let's wait. It's April 24th.
No, for me personally,
we have 2
I'm
months.
waiting.
We have 2 months. Let's
Me
be
personally, I'm
reasonable.
waiting.
Let's be reasonable. It's 2 months.
And lastly, before I go, man, the caller mentioned about having a herb curb in the Tony Rebel event in Jamaica. Are they going to try to do something like this at this festival that's coming up, the music festival, so that the local vendors and stuff can sell their byproducts and stuff like that?
Well,
and I'll listen after you, man. Thanks a lot.
Great. Okay, well, that was a rhetorical question because I don't know. I'm sure they're going to be consulting with maybe festivals who've been doing this for a while. And they'll be taking suggestions on board. So like I said, logic dictates that they will at some point pass some legislation that will include recreational public use in a probably unlimited regulated fashion. Voices, you're on the air.
Smoking marijuana is a dangerous practice. There is a book you could read which says that marijuana smoking is good for this, for your health or anything. It has other medicinal values. I don't want people to run with the idea, and think that people must be smoking ganja. And the second-hand smoke is also dangerous. So you can't have that in public. So tell that caller before to show you a book where they say ganja smoking is good for your health or is good for this or good for that. It does not speak about smoking ganja. Thank you.
Okay, caller. I've heard that caller say many times that he's made reference to the fact that he consumes marijuana in many different forms. I mean, it can be consumed in many different forms. It can be consumed topically. It can be consumed as an infusion, what we call tea, herbal tea. It uses as an herbal tea. People cook with it. People add it to things like brownies and so on. You have edible gummies you can buy, with some of the active compounds and so on. Okay, voices, you're on the air. And I said last week that, smoking ganja, smoking it is actually would probably, okay, if you had a list of, say, 10 ways to consume marijuana, smoking would probably be at the bottom of the list. But people smoke it, right? People smoke it for whatever reason. But smoking would probably be at the bottom of the list as far as beneficial consumption type thing. Voices, you're on the air. Let's go to another phone line. Voices, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
I missed most of the program, so I don't know what was discussed. I hear you talking about marijuana. Is that the topic of discussion?
Well, I threw out a bunch of topics. I played Dwyer Asafan's commentary from last week.
Okay.
And I may have had maybe one call on that, which I found unusual. I would have thought that discussion, I would have thought that his treatise would have, sparked more discussion. But people have been talking about the 420 thing, wondering how the government intends to implement.
What 420?
Well, it's based on April 20. April 20 is a date that is.
Oh, okay,
kind of,
that's the same thing again.
Recognized as.
I am not subscribing to that.
Okay.
That is an insult to me, really. But anyways. Okay, so since it's this 420 thing, you can
talk about anything you want. I did point that out at the beginning.
Yeah, that's true. But since I call in on the point where I hear the word marijuana, I guess this is in connection with since they're talking about quote unquote that 420 thing, I think it has something to do with the music fest, because I think there's a connection to this.
People are wondering how and when the government was planning to let us know how they're going to be doing it. So I said to them,
the smoking and people having problem with it now.
Yeah, well, not that per se, but what I was saying was that it seems logical to me that the government would have some additional legislation in place before the St. Kitts Music Festival. One of the things I also raised this morning was I anticipate there will be. Oh, actually, I just remembered. Maybe I should read John L. Powell's. He did an essay on the topic.
No, wait. Before you go on.
Yes, but
I don't want to run out.
Yeah.
Something about.
No, I'll do that after you come up. Well, what I was saying was one of the things I think will come up is that people will probably say that there's a double standard. Well, how is it we can have a 420 Free St. Kitts Music Festival? Does that mean that we will be able to have a 420 friendly carnival and say Cooler Fete, Inception, and all the other events that go on throughout the year? So I imagine that's one of the things the government will have to contend with. So I'm assuming that the legislation will provide leeway for other events to have 420 friendly facilities.
Yes, well, of course. One thing is going to lead into the next and into the next. So it's not just about music festival and the smoking there. Well, let me say something concerning that quickly. And this is me. I personally, I am against smoking of all kinds. I have said this many times before in the past, because I personally believe that the lungs were made for air, the oxygen in the air, and not any smoke whatsoever. But to each his own. But the thing about it is, if persons are going to condemn marijuana smoke, so to speak, they have to also condemn the cigarette smoking, because there are going to be people there who are going to smoke cigarettes. And this thing about secondhand smoking, we first got that from cigarette smoking. I don't ever recall hearing anything about secondhand smoking when it came to, well, some will say the herb. Okay? Now, not because I don't smoke at all, which would have included marijuana. That doesn't mean that I am going to come out against the plant. Me, as a created being, cannot come out against the plant because I have stated years ago, the plant was put here by the Creator, and it has a purpose, or many purposes. Now, if we don't understand the purpose of a thing, we will abuse it. So for that reason, I can't come out against the plant. I cannot. The thing about it is, this plant that was put here by the Creator, to the best of my knowledge, is green. Today, with all of what is going on, this thing now, the naturalness of this plant has been changed. So we have what is called we have a manufactured plant. Maybe this is what we should refer to as the marijuana, because I think sometime prior I heard that the plant should not be referred to as marijuana. So it has to be this 420 talk about what they have in now should be referred to as marijuana. Now they're showing you a plant that has come in all kinds of colors. Red, purple, pink, orange, black. I haven't seen the white one.
So it's basically GMO marijuana. I mean, because that's what it is.
You understand? And this is what they are pushing as medicinal. Medicinal what? Medicinal what? This is what people need to be aware of. And beware of it. Herein lies the problem. Now, there are persons who smoke the herb, the plant, and they were going to tell you that they smoke it for years and nothing has ever happened to them. Well, if that is the case, it has to be that this plant was smoked in all of its naturalness. Because sometimes I go places and there are people who might be smoking what they call a joint or the herb. And if you smell the thing that is coming out of it, and I am wondering, could this be the smell of the natural plant? I don't want to believe so. It sometimes when it gets into the system, it is so sickening. I don't know how some people stomach this kind of thing. This cannot be natural. It cannot be the natural
I take your point.
Of the natural herb. It has to be that it is mixed. And when I ask,
yes,
there are persons who say they mix this thing with all kind of things. Some of them say, what do they call it? There's some kind of a leaf that they buy in the supermarkets and so on. Some people say that it is laced with the embalming fluid, the same fluid that they embalm dead bodies with and so on. And I have heard one of the persons
I read about that.
What do they call that, right? What do they call the thing with the chip up?
Formaldehyde, I think.
I forgot the name, what they call it. Like they mix with the marijuana.
Fanta. You mean Fanta?
Sorry?
I think they call it Fanta when they do that.
No, it's another name. I heard
okay.
it mentioned by. And I know of one or two persons that I heard said they used to sell it. But they stopped. They don't sell it anymore.
I think
for that reason.
I think one of the unfortunate things is over the years is that a lot of these episodes where people have had adverse reactions to marijuana, pretty much all of them have been where people have added things like cocaine and crack and all sorts of.
Right.
Yes,
and
it gives the marijuana a bad name, and then a lot of these people, a lot of the let's say the older folks who see this, it just it just turbocharges their confirmation bias, because they see I told you it's bad.
Yes. Because this is what persons are going to say. Those who smoke the natural, they don't get, and it has some truth to it. Because this same manufactured or genetically modified, let's say marijuana.
Yes, and then that poses a problem
manufactured
as well.
Marijuana that they have.
Yeah.
I have listened to news reports somewhere where it is said those people whether in America or Europe, they're saying that they need something that is harsher because the marijuana in its natural state is too mild for them. And that is why they came up with all of these different stuff and so for them to get a different high.
Yes.
You see? To get a different high. So they have all of these things mixed in. But
Yes.
if we're going to go to the medical marijuana thing down here,
And you know-
I mean, that is for a different thing.
and-
But we have to be careful with our natural plants down here, you know?
Yes, I mean,
Because there will be cross
I have
pollution.
I have grown up around people, I mean, in my household who smoked, and they never had, I mean, I think for the most part, the stuff they were using was natural. So we've never had any issues with people, you know, going off the rails and stuff.
That's what
yes.
they're going to say. And if you have to go back to when we were growing up, I have never heard of such a thing like that. Like I said, me personally, right, I personally do not like the smoking of any kind. But what I'm saying, I cannot come out and attack. I can't come out and attack the marijuana, the
Yes.
plant like that. I really can't.
Yes.
And persons are attacking it. But they're not attacking the alcohol and they're not attacking the cigarette smoke. Some of these persons who might be what they call in the church and so on, who does smoke more cigarette than the pastors and all of that, and they see them doing it and they don't say anything.
Exactly.
It is right to them because
then-
probably it's the pastor.
And then also,
I don't understand. So I think people need to come out of this mindset that they're in, this kind of a brainwashed mindset. I think they need to, if they have to speak about the herb, they have to come with something more compelling than just the smoking of it. If they want to come out and speak against what people do in lacing the marijuana, the herb, to send people mental or to damage a young life,
Exactly.
destroy a young life, that is what they need to come out against.
and then you never hear
Helping people to be responsible with how they use it, that is what they need to promote.
You never hear
But they
anyone
cannot come
talking.
out.
You never hear anyone talking about, you know, the barbecue pits that we had. Well, not the barbecue grills that you have at these events as well. I mean, that's smoke as well. So,
And that's smoke as well.
Yeah, that's smoke as well. You never hear anyone saying, "Well, oh, so."
Yeah, but you see, it's a lot of ignorance going around, and it's not just jumping on the bandwagon to speak out against something just because they hear somebody say it. There has to be, valid reasons for saying what they have to say. It's not just about the smoke
Yeah.
or the smoking of it. The plant has a whole lot of different benefits.
It does.
I will use marijuana. I prefer to use it in tea or even if it is greens, in rice and so on. But I personally would not smoke it. But I'm not going to condemn persons who do. I'm not going to think. If I go to a function and I see them smoking, I don't have no problem. I might move aside. If the scent is very disturbing to me, I move. But I'm not going to come out and attack nobody and say, they shouldn't do this and they shouldn't. No. Because the same with cigarette smoking.
Exactly. And the guy with the grill, you're not going to tell the guy selling a jerk pork that,
They have cigarettes. They have cigarettes legalized now. Still.
Exactly.
So how are they legalized? Because the West say. Now the West still have us clamped, telling us we should not use the herb, because over the years when they're making it, when they criminalize it for us, they were doing their own research and their own thing on it. You understand?
Yes.
Until when they were in a safe place with their research and all of that, they can now come out and get the patent for it. Now, where does that leave us? So we just sit down here, we just take everything what they say. The same thing with our Hammond. You know how many people got broken feet, broke up the foot, running from police for the Hammond? Look, somebody come here, have the say-so. I don't know if they're still in production. But these not locally owned. Look at who come and still doing these things and we abide. Now, if our Hammond industry was allowed to flourish, if we had strong leaders who would allow this thing, this could have been an industry, could have branched out in so many different areas.
That's
but
a very
we
good point.
take all of these things from the West, criminalize our people, brutalize our people, and they use our stuff to keep us in bondage because they use it, they claim it for themselves, they do what they want, And when they finish, they open it up, and then we have to now go and buy these things. And we're still criminalizing and brutalizing one another, even though it is so plain to see that they are using.
Okay.
And whatever they're using that is dangerous now, it is not the natural plan.
Okay, caller, I want you to, you can call back. I have to go take a break, and we come back and take
Sure,
the rest
no
of the
problem.
calls. Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Okay, sure. There's another, oh boy, okay, caller, let's be brief. Okay, so with that, I'll take the break, and I'll come back and take more of your calls.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
It's tool season at Horswood's Building and Nevis Center on St. Kitts and Nevis. Don't miss out on the year's best time to buy tools. Get 25% off selected tools store-wide. Hundreds of tools on sale. Slash by 25%. 25% off on tools for this tool season at Horswood's Building Center on St. Kitts and Nevis. Horswood's Building and Nevis Centers, the Federation's favorite home improvement stores. Some exclusions apply. See stores for details.
Here are your Horswood's Value Mart IGA specials.
Running April 20th to May 3rd.
Now your Value Club Blue Tax specials. Nature Valley granola bars just $13.49. Palm cooking sprays $13.49. Chef Warrior decanned pastas and micro pastas just $5.99. Essential everyday canned fruits $8.99. Banquet ground and served breakfast sausages $8.99. IGA and essential everyday cereals just $9.99. And now our very low weekly
Value deals! Kind cereal bars $6.99. Post honey bunches of oats and pebble cereals family size $16.99. Hammer toothpaste $12.99. IGA and essential everyday frozen vegetables $5.99. Old Orchard apple juice $8.99. Orville red and Boca popcorn $9.99. Shop smart, shop Value Mart. Tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en
Value Mart.
And we're back with Voices. This segment of Voices is brought to you by Horsford's. It's 6 minutes after 1 o'clock, and we go straight back to the phone lines. Voices, you're on the air. Okay, that person. Okay, so I await your calls. Of course, you know the numbers. 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. Let's go back to the phone lines. Voices, you're on the air.
Hey, man, I said that I get in, give thanks and praise. First of all, give praise to His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie. Hey, let me turn on this again. There's a few things I like to say about the marijuana and different things are happening, you know. Like, me just want my chalice, you know, and I give him praises to His Imperial Majesty. Now, my brother, first thing first, you heard this speech with the Prime Minister when he went to talk about the gangs and the shootings?
Yeah, I heard some of it, yes.
Okay. What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, I don't really have an opinion, to be honest, because I haven't heard all of it. So I would be unfair if I really gave an opinion because I didn't hear all of it.
I listened to it and it kind of bothered me in a way. He was talking about the guys them being fighting over tough drugs. I wonder if you're trying to put the marijuana in the drug basket, or he was talking about cocaine. Because the guy them we won't hear in no love of cocaine to say, you know, for man have to fight tough over them things. This thing happened because of the American thing, gang, red, white, blue, green. Guy here in Sinky decide, okay, we're gonna farm the red. The next day say we're gonna farm the blue. And they fight each other for nothing. Grudging nothing. I don't know. I've been around, I see it, you know. They were fighting for nothing. So it wasn't a tough fight. No guy could come from anywhere around Sinky and come to the city and sell marijuana all the way from the city. No, but it wasn't happening like that evening and time. Guys were just envy each other. So it was really on a joke because we don't want no cocaine in this place like that. So I wouldn't like it to be in a jug basket. Okay, and second thing, I heard Miss Henry was saying something about the Chinese and the African going to the Virgin Islands. In the Virgin Islands, they wanted to each. Because listen, the Chinese, when the Chinese go to like Dominica and all those places, and the Virgin Islands want to reach, sometimes they get there. And I tell you what they do when they get there. When they get there, if we go in the water and walk in gangs in town, so everybody know some illegal Chinese come in. Bam, police catch them, they're not going to send them back to China. They send them to America, and then they get legal. The same thing with African. But we know from the Caribbean, we go there, we scoop around, look little walkie there. We're moving like that, they don't want them to see us. They're Chinese, them, anytime they reach the Virgin Islands, they're free. Okay, another thing.
Wait, hold on. I don't know anything about this Chinese illegals showing up in St. Thomas. This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Well, I've been there. I see it happen a lot.
Oh,
But I
okay.
tell you, everybody that from them big places, far places, come to this part, they mainly want to reach the Virgin Island, where the St. Thomas and Christ and John. Because from the reach there, they're not going to send them back to their country. They're going to send them to America, an American airline. And gone too.
Oh, I didn't know
Another
this.
thing, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, somebody from the Virgin Islands have to call you and tell you that. Listen, I've been smoking marijuana from 1972. And it do a lot of good for me. I went to Jamaica 74, learned more about marijuana and music. I came back to St. Kitts. 1975, I started to DJ, play music. I also started to plant marijuana. 1976, I think I was the first to ever go to the courts up here for marijuana case. I think what's his name? The man Wade. What's his name again? Anyhow, the squad come in on me in Buckley's and they really run up on me and my brethren, and I just started my little thing. End up in the court, the 4th of January, I think it was 1976. The first case I called up.
Wait, this
And
is Jatoots.
Oh Lord, you didn't have to call my name.
Okay. All right, no problem.
But listen me now. It's 4th of January 1976. I had a case. And I don't know if you remember a lawyer from Claxton, named Mr. Claxton from Newry. You heard about him?
A lawyer from... No.
Yeah,
from
I think you
Nevis.
were thinking by went to Newry. His name Mr. Claxton. People who know him will call and tell you.
Okay.
They present him as a lawyer to me. And we went in the case, he represent Mr. Man, the man how it things to make his tea and all that. And they say, okay, call it that. I standing up when they were going to happen. They say, okay, go ahead. They send me home. So I don't see no point in marijuana. The problem is the tobacco with the marijuana is a bag of wire to the weed. That's the problem. You hear about bag of wire?
Yes, I've heard the name.
What bag of wire do?
Well, I heard...
What you heard about
The funny thing is, I heard bag of wire, but not, strangely enough, not in relation to weed. It was a completely different context.
Oh, no, it's not a different context.
No, meaning that's what the meaning I heard. I never heard it.
What you heard about bag of wire?
I don't think I want to get into it.
Okay. Well, what? The fund to come to betray the weed.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what the system wanted. Because when we smoke the weed, we rebel. We're not going to see no God come out of the sky. Listen, you have a Bible in front of you?
If I have a
like
Bible...
to read something for the people.
No, I wouldn't have
Well, the second epistles of John. I won't even say it, but when I get a chance, read it. The second epistles of John, chapter 7. Or who listening, read it. It make us see that the earth have a ruler. And we're not going to look for the guy to come out of the sky. We're in the earth right now, and we look at the earth have a ruler. He been called King of Kings, Lord of Lords in 2nd of November, 1932. Amongst all the kings. So these are things we're rebelling against, and they hate us for that. Look now, we say police, we say locks, you know. And long ago we coming up, this certain man, they used to hold and cut off his dreadlock in the late 70s. Listen, marijuana make me win a come national champion St. Kitts running half marathon. That time I smoke straight weed forever. I don't mix. And no matter what color, what the weed come in, we have to know what is weed. So we don't care what color they bring it. They bring it weed, we will know. We know if it's good. My brother, isn't something I have to say about
Yes.
I listen a lot. But more tell man. Give
Okay,
it time.
yes, you need to call more though. Because you just
Okay.
you actually just gave a great insight.
Okay, man.
Which I will, yes. Now, you see, and you know, I have to apologize about, you know, this is someone I kind of look up to from a musical aspect. I remember, anyway, people might know what I'm talking about, but he just referenced the fact that, you see, the struggle continues. I remember those days, I used to hear about those days when Rastas got arrested and they'd take them to the police station and they'd cut off their locks and stuff like that. So things are changing slowly. Okay, back to the phone lines. Voices, you're on the air.
Greetings, forward in the good.
Hi.
Yeah, told really see you. But you know, life is about living it, you know. And as we say earlier concerning the good herb, we refer it as the tree of life. We refer to it as the tree of life. Oh, that song. Life. That is why certain names we don't entertain when it comes to one's description of the herb, you know. Certain names we do not entertain those words, because those words are connected with the opposite of life, and we know the opposite of life. So intelligently, because we are the most superb. There's the creation having, see some birds that chirp on my head right now. The creation having innumerable species. That's all. Living species.
Preach.
Yeah. But you see, man, womankind, you see humanity, you see human, we are the most superb of all living creation. And we ought to flex that way. That's why I spoke earlier concerning we as a people now, we are part of the human race, you know. But we are not just part of the human race. We are the original mother and father of the entire human race. And this is not Nancy's story. So much so that other part of humanity or mankind came to our original habitation and do all kind of manner of evil. And part of the manner of evil was to even take out some of you out of where we live, out of the continent where we farm, and disperse us here and there for all kind of reasons. Atrocities that is unimaginable. Atrocities that is unimaginable. But as Bob saying, we are the black survivors. As born as in being, look on him complexion. That's why this majesty say until the color of skin is of no significance. That's why Morgan Heritage them sings is one of them come here. So you don't have to be dreadlocks to be Rastafari. Deep. It's very deep. Mrs. Chen spoke about something I wanted to talk about with the cigar of death. That's what we call it, you know. We don't keep your name, you know. We don't use a cigarette. And she spoke about the leaders of the pack in the churches using it. Well, just the other day, you know, my name, everybody know my name. It's not the name I give to myself, you know. It's a biblical name my mother give me, you know. Which shows my mother Christian vibration. And, you know, just the other day, my brother, my elder brother reminded me in a jokey way that his me used to go by, what is the name again? The thing you look at the filter.
Trumpeter? Trumpeter, I
think. Go back, with them.
Trumpeter. I think they were called trumpeter or something like that.
What was the name? The gold flake? What is the name?
Trumpeter.
But the cigarette, cheap cigarette. And that time there, my mother, my beloved mother, is a Christian. So, it's deep. And smoke is smoke, you know? And the start come, the second hand smoke start come from the cigar of death. See me? And through them, the fight is on for the herb. We're not encouraging nobody to go blow no smoke in nobody's face, you know. Because nobody can blow no smoke in my face, you know. Now your ganja, marijuana, whatever. If I only use the tree of life, which the other name I give to it is ganja, especially like when you have in a name that is highly. And I think the Indian inhabitants of the earth will love to see I as Rastafari, because the ancient liberty. You know, that's been here before us. And it shall be around when prison cells are no more. Even when Babylon system is no more.
One thing you should, since you're on, maybe you could just go through briefly the ways that, because there was a caller that called after you that referenced the fact that he was talking about you just talking about smoking, and I said, well, I've heard him say many times, refer many times to the other ways it can be consumed. So maybe you just want to just run through those briefly before you go.
You just spoke about Tony Rebel, the people I live with. Tony Rebel do not smoke herb. When he was living in the country, poor ass, one pair shoe and take bottom pants and all that kind of thing, he used to smoke the herb. You go to it right there in Manchester where his father still be. Where he carry his father up on a hill, you know. And where I live also, because his father home is my home, I have the whole of them home. Tony Rebel eats herb.
Okay.
Just take and people who uses herb in its natural state are very careful where the herb come from. So when we want to know the feeling herb come from, he know where his herb come from. He eats herb. Mutavuka does the same thing. And you get what the herb having, because the herb is good. You know, it is said that the human body having something cannabinoid or whatever it is. The human body is...
the human body produces a cannabinoid, yes. That's true.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
I'm not talking about the marijuana and the weed and the this and the many number of things here now. I am talking about the tree of life. The herb, its pristine, natural form. You eat it, you smoke it, you drink it, you steam it, whatever you want to do with it. The divinity from it, as long as it don't got no chemical mixed with it and the process is not in no ways that is not entirely good to go. These things are $1 billion gift to the human body. $1 billion gift to your health.
And then I don't know if you, I'm sure you know.
Sorry.
But the marijuana oil can be used. It's proven to cure cancer.
I saw.
Yeah.
Stopping your chucks, man. No why you discipline your talk, man. There is no such thing as marijuana oil. Marijuana is not a good thing. Marijuana is a mixed down.
Okay. All right, Elder, you got me.
Oil, the same herbs, the same cannabis. Well, you see all that cannabis name too? As I tell you, as I said before, you know, when they used to give me joggers a courthouse, you know, remember one of the time they me pond them here before me can even answer. I think the clerk of the courthouse said was Sister Louina Maynard. I love her like how Jesus love little children. You say, like him on the court complain that you understand so was found with a certain dangerous drug, cannabis sativa. You see, before they say cannabis sativa, they always say the word dangerous. But when it hit me that time, man, I tell you, I said, what kind of system this? I'm not a man like me. I talk about the 70s, you know. And man, let's be careful when we put in the body. So much so that one time we get sick, my brother, my brother reminded me about that the other day. One time we get sick in my yard, we talk about the symptoms, you know, all the symptoms, we are Rastafari, you know, we are nothing with no jug, nothing foreign, you know. I tell. And somehow we must go up in the tree where I'm in my yard and I feel good, and the whole family bring in doctor for me. And my brother reminded me the other day, a whole heap of doctor, me get up in the 68 hour and all of them. My brother reminded me about that for the year. He said, oh, you vex. I said, it's all right, man. You live. And me just tell my brother, ask him, and me tell me how to bridge in them, a bush to go gather, and me good again.
Okay.
Because we are superb creation. We are in tune with nature. And the minute we lose touch with nature, we fart. That's why most of the, here we talk about this hunger. So we talk about the wrong faces are in the right places. The wrong faces in the right places. Okay. You see them wrong places there, Esther, are people who ain't in tune with them total wholesome being, neither them body nor them mind. So them be a wrong decision. Their irresponsibilities. Because they're not in tune with nature. Because when you're in tune with nature and yourself, you're in tune with others. That's why we don't kill, you know. Hey, let me tell you, watch here. One of we say polite violence. It bloody violence because we think about eating certain things and not even considering that these things that we have appetite to eat is things that we have to kill before we can satisfy that appetite, and yet we continue to look. That Bob Singer talking about that, you know. He said men have lost their faith and eating up all the flesh off of the earth. I think this is manifestation of how wrong earth inhabitants are going. You better wake up. You better wake up. Blessed love.
And with that, okay, blessed love. So let's take a quick break and come back. Wrap up. We got 5 minutes left.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsport's Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
And we're back with the remaining 4 minutes of Voices, and this segment of Voices is brought to you by Hoswoods. And we go straight back to the phone lines. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, host.
Hi, good afternoon.
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
And to your listeners. Then, inside the news, the very sad experience again on the African continent. Already they had so much to grapple with, and you have an investigation that is now underway, presently, and it have to do with a cult. A cult. And they claim to be a Christian cult. The leader, and this is happening in Kenya, the eastern part of Kenya. And already they already exhumed the grave of 65 members. This incident took place in a more forested or jungle area. This leader told his followers to starve themselves. They were starved to death to meet Jesus. And this is very instructive because, you see, with this number of events whether war, famine, violence, corruption. This is another Bible prophecy that Jesus foretold. In Matthew 20:24, verse 4, and Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And Jesus, over and over, warned his followers, his disciples, about deception. We are living in the greatest deception period the world have ever seen. And right down in Matthew 24, verse 11, Jesus speaking, and he says, and many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. These prophecies foretold by Jesus were to take place evidently before he returned. Apart from the world, you see climate change, you see war, you see violence, and now this won't be the last deception. This man, this false prophet, this false teacher, telling his followers to starve themselves. I look at the man when I look at the guy taken into custody, police, and the man walking strong. I expect that he would have been taken in by ambulance, starving himself, along with the followers. And so this to me is like another, not quite like Jim Jones, like the fella Kayash in America. And this won't be the last. But this is taking place right now. They are exhuming the grave of the followers of this false prophet who led all these people to their death. And so it's very instructive of us today, living in a time of great deception, to be forewarned. Forewarned of those who are coming, putting up themselves to be some man or messenger of God, of the Creator. Examine them. And I really sorry, and my heart goes out to those who are left to grieve and mourn, and quite how the victims are children and women. Kenya. And he's a black man, he's not a white man, who led his people in this deception to their death. And so I am calling on our people to not to be deceived. Jesus warned. He warned us in his word. Take heed lest people come and deceive us to the extent we take our own life. So right now, they're exhuming graves. This is not the last count. And it is very sad. Africa already been suffering so much violence, and for this now taking place, it's only add more sorrow. Thank you very much, Mr. Host.
Yes, and that's actually a great way to end the show. Remember, to have a caller point out that the ultimate the ultimate arbiter of everything is upstairs, and beware of deceivers, especially for those those seeking after the truth. And you might have the misfortune to fall in with a congregation run by a charlatan. So it's something we have to be beware of, as per the caller, and he's certainly on point with that. So that's going to do it for Voices. Voices is brought to you by, this segment of Voices is brought to you by Hosford. And of course, we also want to say a thank you to the sponsors of Voices, the people who sponsor the first half, that would be That would be Flow, Rams, and TDC, and of course Hoswoods. So that's going to do it for Voices. We'll be back tomorrow for the Island Tea. You can join us in the morning at 8 for Island Tea. And of course, Spin Cycle Power Hour at 11. At 10. So from 10 to 11. Well, that's going to do it for Voices. Voices returns on Wednesday. Thanks for listening.
Found the sound 98.9 Win FM.
So who you left the kids with tonight? Nobody. They're big enough to take care of themselves. Girl, you mad? Junior only 7 years old. And suppose something happened to the baby while you're out here.